Welcome into 5 Wide for props and locks heading into NFL Week 15. Last week, a down week. I think only our second 1-2 or losing week of the entire season. We had Jared Goff over 21.5 completions. He had 20. The Lions were just brutal on Sunday. And then we also had the Falcons over the Bucs. Falcons lost on that last second field goal. Looking to bounce back here through my favorite plays. This weekend, we got Saturday football as well. I do have a play for Saturday night. So let's jump in. If you guys are new to the channel, hit that sub button. And as well, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button for me too. Let's get into week 15. First up, Saturday night, like I mentioned, this is my favorite play of the entire NFL season. I say that to you completely seriously. It will be my biggest bet of the year so far. I love the Lions, minus 4.5 at home against the Broncos. I think this is an excellent spot to buy low in the Lions as they've lost 2 of their last 3 games. And one of those wins was a win against the Bears a few weeks ago that, quite frankly, they almost nearly lost. So definitely think this is a great spot to get into them, especially with this Broncos team that's on the last game of their 3-game road trip. And they also go from LA to Detroit, quite a long way, going across the country here from the East Coast or from the West Coast to the East Coast. I think that will definitely play a factor as this team gets into the later part of their season. And I love, my favorite part here is how the Lions match up offensively. You look at David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. This game is going to run through these 2 backs, and I think they run wild in this game. I think the Lions will cover this with ease, and I'm going to be taking them on an alt line to win this game by 2+ touchdowns. We look at the Broncos and their run defense. Consistently all season, it's been the worst in the NFL. They're 30th in EPA against the run. They're giving up over 5 yards per carry, 5.1 yards per carry. The next closest team is giving up like a full 0.3 yards less. I think it was 4.8. That is, of course, dead last in the league. 21st in stuff rate as well. I think this offensive line for the Lions, which is one of the best in the NFL, will be bullying this front in this game and move the ball really effectively to stay ahead of the chain. So love what the offense can do there. Then on the defensive side for the Lions against this Broncos offense, I think a lot of people don't know that this is a Denver team that's identity is not through Russell Wilson. It's through their rushing attack. They're running the ball at one of the highest rates in the league, sixth highest rate in the NFL, 45.5% of plays. And it's because I don't think they trust Russell Wilson completely. I'll get into some of these numbers too, but Detroit, perfect matchup for a team that wants to run the football. They're 9th in EPA against the run. They're giving up 3.9 yards per carry, which is 8th in the NFL. They've got a great front 7 to be able to stop the run. That is the strength of this defense. We all know that its biggest weakness is against the pass, but I don't think this is a Denver team built to stop them. We've seen Jerry Jeudy struggle all season. We've seen Courtland Sutton capable of hitting some big plays. He has definitely been their best contributor, but Wilson has played in a way that's been very protected by Joe Lombardi, the OC, and Sean Payton, the head coach. He's 26th in the league in average depth of target. He's averaging just 6.9 yards per attempt, which is 20th at the position. I think when the going gets tough and this Broncos team needs to trust Russell Wilson and his arm to win them a football game, he will not be able to do it. I love the Lions here, minus 4.5. Lock this one in at home. Now getting to another home favorite where I'm looking to fade a bit of a hot underdog is the Saints, minus 6 at home against the Giants. The Giants is a great chance to sell high here. They're coming off a 3-game winning streak with wins over the Commanders, Patriots, and Packers. None of these wins, in my mind, are crazy impressive wins, especially the Commanders and the Pats. The Packers was definitely a surprising win as they found themselves as like a 6-point underdog in that one. But here's where I don't feel that Tommy DeVito is a capable NFL quarterback, maybe not even a capable NFL backup despite their winning streak. The Saints are a team that I think will really challenge them offensively, like to play a lot of man coverage, the 3rd highest rate in the league, nearly 40% of plays there in man coverage. So I dove into some of DeVito's numbers against man coverage, and it has not been good results. He's completing just 57.8% of his passes, averaging just 5.3 yards per attempt. And the other thing I like about man coverage is it makes things a little bit tougher to be able to get your backs involved in the receiving game. When you're playing in man, the dump-offs aren't as easily available because you'll see those backs tracked as soon as they leave the backfield. And as well, with the Giants, they're missing those elite separators when it comes to those pass catchers. Wan'Dale Robinson is having a pretty solid year. Darius Slayton, these are players that I think definitely for Wan'Dale and Slayton that thrive more in playing against zone coverage than they do against man because they are not as much of route tacticians or players that have elite physical traits to be able to generate separation against man coverage. So like that there for their defense. And then offensively, when you look at what the Giants want to do in their defensive packages with Wink Martindale being the defensive coordinator, love to blitz. 42% of plays, second most in the league. And this is a quarterback in Derek Carr, who I know Saints fans can't stand him. I know most of the league is tired of seeing him out there, very banged up. But against the blitz, actually been quite good. He's completing almost 65% of his passes, which is 12th amongst all quarterbacks. He's also averaging 7.7 yards per attempt, which is 9th. You got a great running back to be able to check the ball down to. You got some downfield threats in Chris Olave. Hopefully get Rashid Shaheed back as well. That can, if they get into those one-on-one situations, can generate some big plays. I think this Giants team is coming in pretty overrated. This is a thing I like to do quite a bit in the NFL, is look at these teams that I think people are too high on based on a recent performance, and to a team that in the Saints that I think a lot of people are tired of. And you see them as a significant favorite here, almost a touchdown, and a lot of people might be asking themselves why. I think it's the Saints being a much, much better team, and also just well-positioned to be able to take advantage of some of the deficiencies and some of the schematic tendencies of this Giants team. So give me the Saints -6. Last one, spreading things out really nicely here. Saturday night play. Then we've got a Sunday afternoon play, and then I got a Sunday night play for you. I like Odell Beckham Jr. over 38.5 receiving yards quite a bit here. So Odell's a guy who, when you look at his route participation, this isn't a guy that's on the field a whole hell of a lot. 68.7% route participation. They'll take him off the field. They'll use him strategically. But when he gets on the field, he's getting the ball at a very, very high rate, an elite rate, to be honest with you. 23.7% target rate is top 25 at the wide receiver position, so I love to see that. And you look at the matchup, and this is going to play in really well into what we should expect to get from Odell, just like we saw last week, having a big game against the Rams. So Jacksonville, been a very good run defense, and as a result, teams have been looking to throw the ball against them. Their opponents are throwing the ball on 65.5% of plays, which is the third most in the league, and they're averaging opponents 38.4 pass attempts per game against them, which is the second most. So if we get significant pass volume from this Ravens team, which I think we will, that plays really well into Odell getting on the field a little bit more than average and getting opportunities to generate plays. And against this Jaguars defense, he should have no problem doing that. Love this matchup. The Jags are a team, play a lot of zone coverage. 69% of plays, second most in the league. So what did I do? Have to see what this Ravens team is doing against zone. What's Odell doing against zone? Odell, top 20 in the NFL in yards per route run against zone coverage, 2.55 yards per route run. And he's averaging almost 25 yards per reception against zone coverage, the most in the NFL. This is a guy that can generate big plays when he's seeing zone coverage. Obviously a player that's been around and a very smart player as well. When you look at his yards per run number at 2.55, looking at the guys that he's competing with for those targets, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, both less than half of what Odell's yards per run is against zone coverage. So love the matchup here. Love to see him get on the field more. I think this is far too low, being at 38.5, and when I consider how much more he's going to be on the field compared to an average game this season. So let's go over on his receiving yards. Okay, those are my 3 favorite plays heading into week 15 of the NFL season. Guys, if you're looking for more, or you're looking to break down all of these games, we'll be doing that on the OwnersBox Sports Twitch channel Saturday and Sunday. We'll be live at 11 a.m. Eastern talking about these games, getting you ready for another great week in the NFL. If you guys enjoyed today's video, would appreciate if you hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel as well if you're new, and we will see you on the next one.